For the better part of the past few decades, the jolly old torch lighter has gone on to become a crowd favorite of cigar smokers. But despite all of its perks, there are quite a few things that a torch lighter cannot do that a few strips of cedar will. Commonly referred to as cedar spills in the biz, these little strips of spent wood are the old school way of lighting a cigar. But before you go ahead and call BS on this one, think about it. Long before there were lighters and torch lighters and Zippos and matches even, the primary way of lighting a cigar, or any form of tobacco for that matter, really was a stick of wood on the campfire. And so while the exact date or founding father of the modern cedar spill is shrouded in mystery, we do know that these little super thin strips of cedar are ideal for lighting a cigar and make for pretty damn good travel companions as well, which we shall now discuss. The reason why Spanish cedar makes for such a great travel companion is because A, it is very slender, so you can slide it into pretty much any cigar travel case that you wish, or even a tubos of sorts, and bring it with you. Another travel perk associated with Spanish cedar is that it is TSA approved, whereas a torch lighter definitely is not. Furthermore, you never really have to worry about running out of fuel when you have enough of these. As long as you have some form of light nearby and enough cedar spills, you've got yourself a flame. This leads to the discussion of the flame itself that these little strips of cedar produce, which is very delicate when it comes to heat intensity. Unlike a torch lighter that puts out a ton of heat and you have to be pretty careful with, this type of heat source can be placed pretty close to the cigar and you don't have to worry about it overcharring it. Spanish cedar also puts out an absolutely wonderful aromatic, and as long as you are mindful of how you light your cigar and where you light your cigar, you can do it successfully every time. But before I get around to sparking up one of these cedar spills and demonstrating how to light a cigar properly, I must make mention that there are a few disclaimers / warnings associated with this form of cigar lighting device. The first of these is the most obvious, and that is the fact that you quite literally are playing with fire. Not just any fire too. We're talking about Spanish cedar here, which will go up like that if you're not careful. So be mindful of where you are lighting your cigar, where that ash flake that comes off the Spanish cedar as it combusts may be drifting toward, and note that that flame can get pretty big pretty quickly if you are not careful. The second consideration with lighting a cigar with Spanish cedar involves cleanup, because there will almost always be quite a bit of that. While the flaky white ash that flies everywhere tends to be completely extinguished by the time it touches down, it really is light as a feather and goes, again, everywhere. So be ready to break out the vacuum or the dustpan or whatever else you got to wipe down with, because it's a bit of a mess. In a good way though, because it's, well, not super hard to clean up. Now, to light a cigar with a cedar spill, all one must do is locate a heat source that is high enough in temperature to ignite one end of the cedar strip, toast the foot of the cigar like you would any other smoke, and then, when the time is right, angle the strip of cedar just enough downward where the flame is, so that the flame will keep traveling upward at a slow pace and light your cigar from there. This is where things can get a little tricky and messy, because you're going to want to panic first off because there's ash curling and falling everywhere and whatnot, and smoke in the air and things like that. But play it cool, keep puffing, and make sure that you don't turn it too far downward, because then it's just going to burn up your fingertips and all the Spanish cedar that they are holding. But you don't want to go too far the other way either, because the damn thing's just going to go out on you. So keeping that slight 30-degree bend or so going is really the trick to getting the Spanish cedar to burn at a slow rate. This is another reason why I always pack more than one strip of Spanish cedar per cigar, because sometimes things happen and the Spanish cedar will go out on you. And I always have to mention, don't do it outside. Even the slightest little bit of a breeze is gonna make it a nightmare or a potential fire hazard. So play it safe. Stick to the cigar studio or cigar shop or your lounge or wherever you can and light inside.